I'm really going to have to include the Brene Brown bit before this for this specific joke to make any sort of sense.
This is now a Brene Brown podcast. Sorry gamers.
Welcome to an evening with two best friends talking about video games.
That is what we do on this show.
We're now two bespeckled men.
Yeah, this is a podcast hosted by two men with glasses. So get ready for some real intelligent
Which is
talk
most
now.
of them. It is most of
It is
them.
most podcasts, yes.
Yeah. David got glasses, and wow, I'm feeling the vibe over here.
Chase was shook by my vibe and my martini glass with my drink in it.
You made a real entrance with this stuff today. I only see like one little bit of your house, so I can't really see you wandering around putting on glasses or making a martini. And you sure did, and came back in with like you didn't bust down the door, you didn't kick it in, but it felt like you did.
Hey, it's a vibe, and I got to live up to it. Is really what it comes down to. I've been given a great responsibility to be a bespeckled man.
I hope that's the right word.
Bespeckled? I think so.
I feel like there's a letter missing in there. Bespectacled?
Bespectacled.
I think
but
is
that
the
sounds
right
like
word.
A spectacle.
I mean, listen, listener, this is a spectacle. I'm seeing a side of David I haven't seen before. And I like it.
This is now a bespectacled podcast. Bespectacled podcast.
Bespeckled is the word we were saying at first. I don't think that means anything.
But what if we said bespectacled? Would that be the two of us then? Two bespectacled. Fuck. Two bespectacled people is bespectacled.
Hey, welcome to Video Game Podtimism. It's the Optimist video game variety show where two best friends who now both wear glasses talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase.
And my name is David.
Welcome in to an evening with gamers.
With gamers with glasses.
Oh, man.
It's the new subgenre of our podcast.
Again, that's all of them. That's most of the video game podcasts.
Well, now we're part of the crowd.
Yeah, I guess that's true. We'll fit right in. Hey, have you been playing video games, David?
I have been, yes. I have been playing games.
I would just love to hear about them if you'd be willing to permit that.
I've still been playing a lot of Powerwash Simulator.
Yeah, man.
It's like a cozy, noisy, hydro-powered sweater to wear at the end of the day. I'm still enjoying it quite a bit. It's just so easy now with my spectacles.
Yeah, you can see all the dirt.
To see all this dirt now. There's so much dirt everywhere. I'm hunting for it. I'm a dirt hunter.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a little frustrating with how slow my camera turns sometimes when I'm in certain positions.
Yeah.
But it's still just fun just to see the change in these objects that you're cleaning. Like I made this Stegosaurus sparkling clean the other day. That's the cleanest Stegosaurus I've ever seen in my goddamn life. It looks beautiful.
Was that the park that you were cleaning up?
The playground, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's interesting to me to see what objects call to me to be cleaned first in this game, because it always changes, and there always is something that calls to me of like,
clean me, baby, come over here, spray me down.
I gotta say, the floor is always my move, which I know in real life is the opposite of the correct move. Usually you clean that last, but something about cleaning the floor in this game, I want to set a good base.
I was about to say, this seems like a very Chase Albee move of I'm going down the list, and for this time I'm going down to up. Let's get the base of this nice and sparkling, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas I'm usually like a shed of some sort, a lawnmower,
you want
maybe.
a full object to finish.
Yeah, I want to do a full object because I need a little bit of completion to keep going. Like so,
sure.
I can always look back at the sparkling clean Stegosaurus when I'm like a quarter of the way through the dirty ass ground and I'm just slogging.
You've got your shining house on the hill to look forward to.
Exactly. And I definitely did figure out how to use the jet head to make to make some fun art in this game too.
Oh, sure. You're a little expressive. Yeah.
I got to express myself a bit. This is my job, but I can have a little fun too, just have a good time.
Yeah. And whistle while you work, man.
Whistle while you work. Powerwashing Simulator. Fun game.
Good
I
game.
enjoy
Yeah,
it.
it's fun.
I also beat Tunic.
Oh, wow. That was fast.
Yeah, I blew through this game. This game was really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Tunic quite a bit.
I'm glad one of us got through this because I felt like that was a big blind spot for me, having not beat it last year.
You didn't beat it?
I didn't. I sort of fell off it and then for a while I was like, I should go back to Tunic, and then picking it back up seemed kind of daunting because there's kind of a lot of like stuff you need to hold in your brain at any given moment for that game. And I never really got back to it.
It's definitely one of those games where you have a pretty clear internal map of where things are and how things work and interact together and like what changed in this area when I did that, and you kind of have to remember to go back. But no, it was really a fantastic game. It's apparently a game that is part of a genre that I enjoy, according to Mallory, my girlfriend. Oh, what is it? Because she sees me playing this game and she's like, oh, this looks like a game you would enjoy. And I'm like, pray tell, what does that mean? She said that I always love to play games where I'm a creature on a quest. And I had no rebuttal. I was like, yeah, I do like those kind of games. I was like, Tunic,
it's true.
Enjoying it. Turnip Boy, enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Death's Door, enjoyed it. Hollow Knight, enjoyed it.
True.
Silk the quest, Song, man. Will enjoy it. I'm sure I will be a future enjoyer of that game whenever it graces our lives.
If we make it to the release of that, yes.
Let's not.
Not going to jinx it. There is a Nintendo Direct tomorrow as we're recording this, so maybe future us knows something we don't.
About that as a possibility. Oh my God, dude, I would be so up with they're just like Silk Song's out.
There's always the risk of it, but it never really comes true. And so my hopes are never that high that I will be playing Silk Song with any sort of haste. But
I'm not going to meme this into becoming the Winds of Winter of video games, though. I'm gonna stay firm in my belief this is going to happen, and it's going to be awesome when it does.
They're very confident that it is coming out. Like Xbox last year was like, yes, Silk Song is coming out and it will be on Game Pass this year.
They said this year, last year?
They said next year, last year.
Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, do you have any other Creatures on Quests games that you have enjoyed in the past? I can't think of any others, but I'm sure there's multiple others out there.
My recall is so bad that I'm sure that I have played a Creature on a Quest game. I was going to say Paper Mario, but Paper Mario isn't a creature. That's a man.
This beast, Paper Mario, inhuman creature.
I wish I could Google that, but I sure can't.
I mean, they're all kind of like Zelda games.
Maybe Garden Story.
Oh, I was about to say Garden Story. I think is the next one I need to play. If this is my genre. I was interested when you played it.
It's a little bit different. I will say, like, I think all of those games have kind of a like main thrust that's happening.
Yeah.
I think Garden Story is a little bit more, not ding boyish, but there's like stuff that you do. You get missions and like daily stuff you have to do.
Yeah, that's true. Cattails, that's definitely Creature on a Quest.
Oh shit, yeah. Big time.
I still think fondly of Cattails.
I know. It was a fun game.
That was a fun game. That was a fun little game.
Yeah.
But Tunic was great. I really enjoyed it. Probably the game I compared it to the most when I was playing it, just because it was fresh in my mind, was Death's Door. And they are similar Creature on Quest games. I feel like they are very similar, but different games. Death's Door is much more linear, I feel, whereas Tunic is a large area you can just go out and explore. So I do appreciate that Tunic gave me that ability, that kind of wanderlusty sort of Breath of the Wild, just go out and find things, exploration that I didn't quite get with Death's Door, but still loved both of those games. But also I was astounded by how many wow moments I had in Tunic. So many times that the camera would just pull away and you'd be in this cavernous area, this beautiful place with like sun beaming down on you, or just like all this like ancient machinery whirring around you. Like the visuals were pretty incredible for what the game was. So on a technical standpoint, I was very impressed with this game, and I just think it was masterfully crafted, really interesting, and I loved the whole entire video game manual aspect of the game, mechanic of the game, which I thought was a really great throwback and a nice way to digitally give people that experience of engaging with a separate object, a manual, to find out what the fuck is going on in a game, and like keeping notes in the back page with the memos and stuff, and just having all these little things that are all these clues and secrets that are given to you piecemeal as you find this booklet that's scattered through the world. I thought that was a really awesome touch, and something that I think I'm kind of a sucker for, 'cause, I mean, I definitely grew up with game manuals before, so definitely kind of hit me in a nostalgic place with that.
I think it also simulates the experience of like if you ever encountered any like Japanese game with a Japanese manual, or renting a game and like some kid tore off half the pages or something like that, and so you have no idea what like it should be or just, renting a game and it not having a manual and being like, how do I play this game?
No, absolutely. And I mean, like the whole entire aspect of the game where you can't understand anything people are saying except for keywords. You know, it's like it's a game that you imported from a different country and now you're playing it. It's like if you were playing Zelda before it got imported to the US as like some weird hack that you got from overseas.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really great game. It did fall into the bad ending and true ending foible that I'm not a fan of. But it wasn't like too unsatisfying. Well, I mean, it was a pretty unsatisfying ending for the bad ending. But yeah, I'm not gonna find half of these hidden fairies to get the real ending. I'm sorry, it's just I don't got time for that.
Yeah, I feel you.
And one other thing I did like was that they called the D-pad the Holy Cross.
Yeah, really great.
That was awesome.
Really great stuff.
It's just like, I can use this. I can do it. I can use it this way. And just all the different things that it allowed you to do from the very beginning, but you just didn't know how to interact with the game. And then you figure out, I can do this. I can go back and do all these different things. So yeah, that was a really fun game. I really enjoyed Tunic. That was one of the better games I've played in a while, I think.
I'm glad. Like I said, I felt like it was a blind spot for me, having not like had the experience that I think you did. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure I would if I just went back and like maybe gave it another shot from the beginning. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you like found the fun in it, even though it sounds like it wasn't buried very deep.
No, it wasn't. It was easy for me to touch the fun here. That sounds wrong. Touch the
Interesting,
fun.
yeah.
It's like taste the rainbow, but much more suspect.
That's for Skittles' off-brand candy company called Squirtles.
Squirtles.
Touch the fun. Squirtles. Yeah.
Would that be like a Skittles condom brand?
Squirtles. I hope not. Because it is sort of a painful thing to say out loud. Like my mouth doesn't like saying it.
You said Squirtles?
Squirtles.
Squirtles, like Squirtle?
No. Let's say Skortles. Squirtles.
That's a hard one to say. That does not come off the mouth very easily.
I really I feel like if I speak it too close, it's not clear. Squirtles. No, because then it sounds like a Q. Squirtles.
We're way off the topic of video games now.
I know. Yeah, sure are.
Anyways, one other thing I did play this week quite a bit of was Mario Kart 8 with Mallory's niece.
Oh, wow.
It's her first time.
How's that going?
It was her first time playing Mario Kart, and she was doing so well. She was doing well, Chase. She was in first place. Granted, it was 50 cc's, but you gotta start them where they can start, right?
Yeah, I would assume that if somebody hasn't played Mario Kart literally ever in their life, that I would expect myself to be in last for most of that run.
I was coaching her. She was doing great. She was doing a great job.
Wow.
And on the very last lap, right before the finish line, Red Shell came out of nowhere, hit this child who was about to win and have an amazing story to the beginning of gaming in her life of the first time I played Mario Kart, I won. Yeah. And she was felled by none other than the foul behemoth Donkey Kong. And
you made this happen. You made this happen.
I made this. How would I make this happen? Why would I make this happen?
You didn't tell anybody, but you're trying to build an army of allies. You were playing. Donkey Kong goes by and you pull off a mask and it's you.
Are you saying
through the red shell?
Are you saying this is a false flag? A donkey flag?
Hate Donkey Kong. I need more army. More people for my army.
Donkey Kong is a menace to society. I don't care who hears it. This donkey beat my little niece. It was wrong. Yeah. It was wrong. And then for the rest of the whole entire Grand Prix she was playing, Donkey Kong was hot on her heels at every moment. If you were flying in the air and there was a wheel coming out from the top of the screen from someone behind you, that who had it was right there.
That's DK.
He was right there the whole time. This donkey was harassing her. It was messed up. I'm just like, okay, Donkey Kong, you can harass me. I'm a grown man. That's fine. I can take it. Don't harass a 6-year-old, man. That ain't cool.
No violence like this child.
That was an experience, and just reaffirmed my distrust and distaste of one Donkey Kong.
Donkus Kongus.
Donkus Kongus.
Yeah, I hear you. He pulls no punches. The DK.
It was a foul moment in time. Anyways, that's what I've been playing this week. What have you been playing, Chase?
I've been playing some video games, David.
Let's hear it.
Quick update. I beat Dead Space.
Nice.
The remake that just came out. I was trying to think about if there's anything really significant that I wanted to bring up since the last time I played it, and I don't really think there is. Most of what I said about it last week is still appropriate and hasn't really changed having beaten the game. It was fun and ridiculous, and to me, not horribly scary, despite the fact it was like icky and gross, which is like, that's what it's trying to do. But I think in giving the player enough power, it's like, yeah, I can deal with all these bozos. It's fine. They're like horrifying to look at, but just shoot them dead. It's fine.
These necromorph bimbos or himbos, I should say.
It's all good. So like, yeah, I thought it was very fun. The twist that happens towards the end is fun still. I knew it was coming, but was still just like, oh, that's cool.
What's the twist? I've never twisted the twist.
I'll cut this out, but like, it's not a huge surprise when it happened this time. When I was younger, it was quite a surprise because I was a dingus. And in my Ashley Johnson era.
You were in your full Ashley Johnson shit right then.
Anyway, this game does the thing that I was fond of that Resident Evil games do a lot, where it gives you a lot of stuff that you can keep when you restart another game. It's like New Game Plus, essentially. Mm-hmm. It also offers you like, hey, if you want to restart, there's a bunch of, new things you can unlock in the game, and you can, play on hard if you want to. And so like just pretty much immediately slapped on another, run and started playing through it. I haven't beaten it, but it's been really fun to like just redo the game essentially with, better armor, and I'm playing on hard. So it's a little bit more of a challenge. Sure. But because you've been playing it the whole time, it's like, it feels like a fun challenge rather than like, this is just way too hard.
Like I got this.
Yeah. And you've got all your guns from the first playthrough. So it's like, you feel at least a little bit more prepared. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. I really like that a lot of these like horror games do that, where they offer you another way to experience the game after you've beaten it. Mm-hmm. And like New Game Plus is not specific to horror games, but I think horror games can do it really well, because after you've played a horror game the first time through, inherently it's going to be a little less frightening.
Yeah.
Because you know what's around the corner. Mm-hmm. Being able to lean on that and say, yes, we know it's less scary, so now we're going to offer you just really an action game at this point is cool. Like, it's cool that those things can fill both roles. I think the most prime example of that to me last year was it didn't come out last year, but I played it again last year, was Resident Evil 3, the remake, because it was that, and it was also very short. And so like you could play the game in short order and then do that again. Like I said, I think I beat the second run in like 2 hours or something like that, which is like very, very nice, very fun. So yeah, I had a good time with Dead Space. I think this is a fun one.
That's fun. It's like 2 games in one with those horror games now.
Yeah, no, it's great. I really like that approach. Mm-hmm. So yeah, more thoughts in it last week, but I think most of it still stands. I also played a bit of a throwback. I fired up Goldeneye the other day.
Oh, on the Nintendo whatever expansion pack or whatever it is.
So I saw that it dropped there, and I was like kind of aware that it was there, but then saw it on Xbox Game Pass and was like, well, I think I'd prefer to play it on Game Pass. Yeah. So I did that, and this is a weird experience playing this game, man.
It's not quite so good anymore, huh?
Yeah, I like it's interesting because like I definitely this Goldeneye came out and I played a lot of it at the time. Yeah. I was like not immune to playing Goldeneye. I think nobody was at the time. If you owned or knew somebody who owned an N64, like this was a game that people had.
Slaps only. Let's go.
Yes, which was fun, but I don't think I held the same like level of nostalgia that a lot of people had for it. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't really think from, a couple years on, I was like, man, there are better shooters than Goldeneye. Yeah. Even like better Rare made shooters. Like I think Perfect Dark is a better shooter than Goldeneye was. Yeah. It even what is it like? I can't remember if it's Agent Under Fire or like Nightfire, whatever the next Bond game was on the N64. Yeah. It was also pretty good by comparison, but like man, it feels pretty clunky. Something that the version on Xbox did was that it updated the controls to be just like a regular shooter, meaning that if you use the right analog stick, you can just look around and shoot at dudes, which makes the game considerably easier because GoldenEye was built with the N64 in mind, which meant that you had to use one analog stick to move your character and to aim if you needed to. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, the N64 solution was to, if you hit R or hold R, then you would go into like aiming mode, right? Yeah. Which I turned that control version on for a second. I was like, oh, this is so rough. This feels quite bad.
That's wild.
It feels rough. Like it's this... The way that it controls is that the reticle will naturally sort of center itself. And so if you pull to the right a little bit, you will look right for a second, but if you let off the analog stick, it'll come back to center. Right. And so you have this like, I don't know, what feels like you've got like a metal arm that's kind of like naturally trying to swing back to the center as you're trying to like hold a gun on the end of it. Like it's so bizarre. So I turned that off, which definitely made the game a lot more enjoyable. And like once I'm in there, it's still like fun to do these levels, right? I think if nothing else, like the level design is still pretty fun to me. That may be nostalgia for me, but like, you know, running through the dam on the first level is fun. Running through the like snow covered area in the second one is fun. Going down into like the nuclear silo in the third level and like having to like not shoot any scientists and get a picture of the satellite that they have in there is fun. Like, I think all that stuff is interesting and does deviate a little bit from what I think is like kind of a standard shooter thing of just like kill the guys. You know, Doom is mostly kill the guys, and you know, maybe you find some secrets or some keys, but by and large, like objectives were not a big part of Doom or Quake or anything up to that point. And so it does still feel kind of novel in that way. Of course, like every other shooter would eventually do stuff like this, but it does still feel kind of interesting to play through it. And especially when you're looking at like difficulty in these games, because I don't know, it didn't feel like people were doing a shitload of damage on harder difficulties. I think they were, but just because I was using the like modern control scheme, it was much easier to fight these guys. Because also the game does a fair amount of like, it gives you a little bit of leeway with whether or not you're hitting these dudes. You can kind of just aim in their direction and it'll get them for you.
Is that a healthy auto aim?
Yes, which again, you need it on the N64. Like it's hard to hit people with those guns, but the harder difficulties start layering on more objectives, which I think is a fun approach. Like there are more ways to fail level because like you need to do X, Y, and Z or collect all these cards on your way to the end, which is always hilarious if you like fuck one up, because you'll get to the end of the dam. My boy James jumps off the dam to like get to the bottom and it's like mission failed because you forgot to collect a card key or something.
I know, he's just like doing a swan dive off. It's like he goes all red. Yeah.
Yeah, you fucked up,
you
dude.
did now.
So it was interesting. I also like realized that I was playing, I mean, this game came out in like 97 or something, and I was playing that when I was 7 or 6. And so like your boy wasn't reading all of the text in this game. And it's hilarious that like before every mission, the game essentially presents you the mission brief from all the people on your team. So like M gives you like, hey, here's the actual just like overall mission brief. Q gives you some technology, and oh god, what's the like love interest name in Bond
Moneypenny?
Yes, Moneypenny just gives you a horny text essentially. Like at the end of every mission briefing, it's just Moneypenny, every single mission.
What does she say?
She's like, it's always so ridiculous. Like, hey, there's a dam here. I hope it doesn't break and all this water gooshes out or something like that. Like just terrible, dumb, low hanging fruit.
Oh, Moneypenny.
It speaks to the like, you know, sort of inherent terrible masculinity represented in Bond. End games at the time, but it's funny in hindsight to me. Just like, God, this is like embarrassing to have to like, I'm reading the mission brief, like, okay, what are my actual objectives here? How do I do this? And then Moneypenny sends me like a "you up" text in the end of the brief. Like, what the fuck is this?
Whose job do you think that was to make those MI6 sexts back in the day?
My friend, this one isn't horny enough. We need another one. This isn't good enough.
Just make it hornier. We need this at least 5 times hornier, okay?
I know.
But make it covert horny. Don't hit him over the head with it.
It's interesting. But anyway, so I think I mostly enjoyed playing through this, but also with the acknowledgement that like this hasn't aged particularly well.
Yeah.
Especially for like, I would say one of the genres that has been honed the most over the years.
Oh yeah.
Among the things that have been iterated on, I think shooters are kind of up there with like the most iterated stuff.
Absolutely.
Because like, you know, even playing Chained Echoes late last year, which is the like JRPG that like looks kind of like a SNES RPG, but is a lot of updated stuff. There's so many like UX decisions or like experience choices that they make of like, why haven't we been doing this the whole time? Why don't you heal up to full after every single battle, so each battle can be sort of an interesting little fight? That it just hasn't been iterated on that much, whereas like shooters definitely have. Like people have figured out like what exactly makes a shooter feel good.
What's good.
And so, yes, and so it feels like kind of whiplash to go back to Goldeneye. Yeah. It's fun. It was a fun game, but I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand
something
why.
Different. Do they have online multiplayer?
I didn't check. I think they do, but I if I remember correctly about the Nintendo one, it was like something was limited about it in a very Nintendo way.
You can only play with people who you share a friend code with?
Some such fuckery that Nintendo would do.
Like, I never know my friend code. Like, that's probably a more secure number for me than my social security code, for sure. Social security number.
It has more numbers.
It has more numbers.
Yeah.
And fewer people know it. That's for fucking sure.
That's true. Yeah, I don't have to tell Steve's Pizza my friend code when I apply to a job there.
Steve does not want to be your friend. He just wants to be your employer.
No, man. He would like to make some money off of my pizza slinging abilities, which he did.
You were just sucking at the teat of big mozzarella.
Big pizza.
Big pizza.
Okay, so the final game that I've been playing, which is the one that I want to talk about by far the most, is this game called Season, A Letter to the Future.
Oh. What is this? Is this game going to be like sad, like a commentary on climate change and shit?
Oh, yes, partially.
Like, that's really sounds like some climate change shit. But okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, man. Okay, so this is like an indie game that came out very recently. I don't think it was made by a huge team. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there was a fair amount of reporting that has come out in the last few years about this place, and specifically the leadership that Scavenger Studios had. It sounded like there's a pretty shitty dude in charge of it. I don't want to give more coverage to the dude's name, but essentially like he was, pretty shitty and rowdy, and like in the reporting had mentioned essentially that like he would get drunk really often and like grope people that worked there, and it sounds pretty terrible. And the only reason I bring it up is just that I think if you're gonna play this game, that you might need to take that into consideration, that that's something that happened with regard to this team. And I know that something a little bit more encouraging about it though is that they have set up a certain amount of like policies for prevention of specifically that sort of stuff at the company, and like third party HR professionals that like came in to try and like clean up a lot of that. And I don't work there, so I can't speak to the quality of that success or the quality of that program, but it's one of the situations where because it's such a small team, like I would want to support the people who are still working there, but it does kind of come with this asterisk on it. Of course, no ethical consumption under capitalism, but still wanted to like call out the shitty behavior before we really talked in earnest about the game. So about Season, the actual video game, it is this game where you are playing as this like fairly young girl, Estelle. Like, she strikes me as maybe in like her 20s or something. The thrust of the game is that you are just wandering around this world documenting it, which is like, there's so much more to it than that, but that's sort of like on paper what is going on in this game.
Sure.
So the thrust and sort of the main entry point of the story is that this woman Estelle, she lives in this village that's like very high up on a mountain. It's like, it doesn't really give like any sort of like, it's in Asia, it's like not Tibet or something, but you live in this village that's like kind of on a mountain, and no one has like really left in a long time, but a friend of yours has this like prophetic vision that very soon the current season will end and a new one will begin. And in this like world, seasons it's not like the weather, it's not like spring or summer.
Sure.
They're spread out over like, many, many years.
Okay. And
so the current season that's been going on is about to stop, and a new one will, come in its place.
What's the current season?
They haven't named it yet. It's like, because it is so current, they haven't like given it a name. But regardless, the thing that happens is that you as Estelle ask this like older woman who like, you're like, hey, I would like to leave the village and I would like to go document the world as best I can so that like a future generation can see it, which is gives context to the very beginning of the scene. Is somebody opening this like scrapbook that has Estelle's face in it. It's clear that like from the beginning, this is the scrapbook that you're going to be like building through the game.
Yeah.
And so it seems like it's gotten into the hands of someone in the future. And so it starts like that, which is like already kind of a wild conceit for a game like that is not really like anything that I have played before.
Yeah.
And sort of sets you up with that, and then immediately puts you into the first like scene of the game, which is you are playing as Estelle. It's like a third person game. You're just walking around your house and you're hanging out with your mom, and it is like the morning of the day that you're going to leave, right? That you're going to leave the village.
That's some big vibes right there.
Yes, absolutely. And like, I'm going to probably talk about this a little bit later, but like, I've got to say that there's a weird connection in my brain between this and Kingdom Hearts right now.
Oh. So
much of it is just like got this same level of melancholy in it.
You eating some sea salt ice cream?
I wouldn't be surprised if that showed up. And like, I think Season is a lot more clear with like what they are saying thematically, but like, it's possible that I've just been playing too much Kingdom Hearts recently, but the same sort of like, this is beautiful and sad. Yes. Yeah, I always see Sora's face. Anyway, so this first scene is that you're hanging out with your mom, and she's like, "Hey, this is really cool that you're going on this journey, but I need to make you this like pendant, this necklace." To protect you from, they're a little unclear about what it is, but some kind of like mind disease is what they mention. And the way that we're going to make it is that she's got this like burner set up in the middle of the room that you have to go and collect some items from the house that hold a memory for you. And that represents each one of your senses. So like, touch, sight, smell, and you're going to burn it, which will, bring a little bit more energy into this pendant, but at the cost of your mom losing that memory forever. Once it is burned, she will not be able to remember it.
Whoa.
Which on the face of it is like, oh my God, this is fucked.
Damn.
And so you kind of like the first scene is this experience of like walking around your house and Estelle like looking at these items, and she gives you like a couple of lines of dialogue about each little thing you can pick up, which was the first indication to me that like, oh shit, the writing in this is very good. Much of the writing in this game feels like prose. And I'm not like a good writer or anything like that. And so I think for writing to be good to my brain, it really has to like be obviously clearly good to me. I guess that's a personal distinction, but because I'm not like super familiar with that, it's harder for me to judge like why something is or isn't working with writing. But I will say that like this one oftentimes kind of leaves me gobsmacked in a lot of ways of like, whoa, that was a really cool line, or like, holy shit, that was really heavy and deep. In a way that doesn't feel pretentious to me. It approaches that sometimes, but a lot of the times it's just like Estelle describing something or like how a scene has transpired. But anyway, so you go through your whole house and you're sort of like looking through stuff to try and put into this burner. And like, it felt very much like the Kingdom Hearts intro where Waka and Titus are like, what are you scared of? And you have to say like getting old or losing my friends or whatever, And like, I bet there is a mechanical thing for that in Kingdom Hearts. I bet there's not a huge mechanical thing for Season. It was still just like painstaking. I was like, fuck, man, I want to like get it right. Like really distill this stuff into this like pendant. It's also like heartbreaking when you go give it to your mom and she's like, oh yeah, you used to do this. And like, I remember this one time that this thing happened with, XYZ. And then she's like, that's a really nice memory. And then throws it in the burner, and it's clear that like she doesn't remember it anymore.
Damn.
It's just like heartbreaking, especially like, my family has a history of Alzheimer's. And so like that's a very personal and specific experience that I can relate to in a much more or a much less fun or magical realism sort of way. But that like scene was definitely like, wow, this is intense. And right before you leave, you like take a picture of her and yourself, and I can't remember if it's Estelle or your mom, but like one of you is like, well shit, like there we are. We're captured, like this moment will always be here on this like beautiful morning forever. And like you just leave after that. I'm like, that was fucking wild, dude. That is a crazy intro to a video game. And the way that the rest of the next like, quote unquote level plays out, and how the majority of the rest of the game plays out, is that you exit your house and you essentially make the journey from your village outside of your village. And the way that the game progresses is that it gives you this like kind of Polaroid camera and a audio recording machine. And what you can do with that is like take pictures of a village or take pictures of interesting things or people or whatever, or record the sounds of like something like incredible that the beginning level has is there's in this village, it's common for people to play music throughout the night. It's just these little music boxes that are on people's porches. And when the music stops, it's like an indication to the village, like, hey, it's sunrise. It's time to wake up. And so like you're up before all these people because you're leaving. And so you can go record a little bit of the music box. And what you end up being able to do is that you open up this scrapbook and either, place the photos that you took, or you can place like, a drawing of the thing that you captured, this like sound, and it's automatically drawn. It's not like you have to go there and do it yourself. And it'll play the audio that you captured if you hover over it. And so you're doing like the layout of this page, which like I really like. I enjoy doing layout just, on in my job, outside of my job. And so like that was a fun thing to experience.
Sure.
And so the rest of the game is essentially you leaving this village and going out and documenting stuff.
Wow.
And it's really like beautiful in more ways than one. I think just like visually it is striking how incredible it looks. Like it's got a very like watercolor cell shaded thing going on. And so when you first come out of your village and it's just like these sweeping green vistas, it's just like, holy shit, man, this looks just incredible. It's maybe a trite comparison, but like it, gives me sort of a Studio Ghibli vibe of like the beauty that those movies are able to convey, both like large, expansive areas, but also like very small, intimate places is in this game. And I think that creativity that you see in world building in a Studio Ghibli film is here too. Like the game it shows you a lot without saying a lot.
Sure.
It's telling you a lot about like, seasons and the world and stuff like that, but it's also communicating like, if you pick up money or anything, the money's currency is called a poem. And so like, if you have 10 poems, that's, 10 money's worth or whatever.
10 poems, is that equal to 1 sonnet?
Yeah, exactly. What's the conversion
10
rate?
sonnets is an epic.
And so like communicates a lot of like what this world prioritizes. And that's there throughout, right? Like there isn't a lot of like danger in this world. It's never, you don't have to fight anything. And so there's a novelty in how it's expressing the world to you that I just don't see in a lot of games. Like it has taken a lot of assumptions that people I think make a lot of the time when building worlds or building games and says, nope, fuck it, we're going to do something totally different. And I really like that. So yeah, the beauty of the visuals is there, but I think, like I said, the writing in it is really good. It's just like parts of it are just like tragic in like very specific and tiny ways, which is beautiful, right? Like that's a really incredible thing to be able to capture in the game. Canonically, your dad has passed away before like any of this has ever happened, but he like left you a poem, and it also seems like a recording of like, how my daughter should be able to like leave the village, right? How she's be able to do this. And it's this like recording that you listen to right before you leave. And it's incredible, right? It's your dad's telling you to like, all right, if you're ever like overwhelmed or something, I want you to like lay down on the ground. I want you to close your eyes. And the game, of course, like, goes completely black and you're just listening to the voice of your like dad. It's like, I want you to feel the ground and feel all the people that you're seeing for, like all the dead people that aren't here anymore, or all the people who have yet to be born.
Whoa. You're
like living and seeing and breathing for them. And like to feel that support underneath you. It's just, again, it's incredible, right? It's just so good.
Damn. That's deep.
In a way that doesn't feel like, somebody's trying to flex their thesaurus. It's just like, that's nice. It's a nice way to write.
We out here thesaurus flexing right now.
And like, I think the sort of like tragedy and beauty in it is the game is saying a lot. Once you get to sort of like the main area, there's like a kind of a more open area that you eventually get to that you're like really trying to explore in earnest. And I think the game has a lot to say about like memory and the pain of remembering, like just how hard it can be to carry on with like so much stuff in your history, or, what we carry as a people or a culture or anything like that.
Sure.
And how also difficult it is to capture any single moment with any sort of accuracy. Like every time I take a picture in this game, I'm like, it doesn't get enough of what I'm trying to look at here. It doesn't look right.
What an artsy man.
Yeah. Or like whenever I'm making the scrapbook, I'm like, I don't know if that page is perfect, right? Like there might be more to it than that. And I think it's speaking to this difficulty of capturing the moment, which is like, that's just a thing that people deal with, like it is not necessarily something that somebody who is a photographer deals with. It is that, but also like how hard it can be to just like be in the moment and live in something and experience this like specific slice of time, and how like you'll always be there, but you also won't be able to like remember it perfectly or anything like that. Yeah. And, again, as a dude with existential crises galore, like I don't always worry about like, my car got all fucked up or something. I'm going to have to pay some money to do that. Okay. Or like I work in tech. And so like my job is currently at risk. Okay. Like whatever, man, like it'll be okay.
Sure.
We'll figure something out. And like, that's a privilege to say that because there was a time when that wasn't the case. And I know that that's still not the case for a lot of people, but that sort of stuff just doesn't really bother me. But the shit that does bother me is what are we doing here? dude, does this mean anything? Does this matter? Am I going to like, are there really important things that I'm doing? Am I going to be able to like distill that at any point and capture that in a way that is meaningful, which is good. I like, it is surprising to me that a game is able to draw that feeling out and simulate it. So like, it's just incredible. I think this game is so fucking good.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. I sort of suspect that this game, depending on who plays it, will speak to different stuff because there is a lot in here. Yeah. Right. Like there's also like, I haven't spoken to even like, 80% of what's going on in the game. There's so much shit happening. The world itself is clearly some sort of ecological disaster has happened.
Yeah.
Or you run into a group of people eventually that are like grappling with how best to organize themselves and stuff like that. So there's all sorts of stuff going on in here, but I think that's like kind of a good part of the game is that it is saying a lot of this very well, so that if you're coming into this, there's a lot of stuff that will speak to you. I read a review of this. I don't want to name the name just because like I don't want to dunk on this person or anything. But like they reviewed it and they're like, oh, I was able to like walk into an area and like cheese the game by just taking 5 pictures of the sky and filling out my scrapbook. And I'm like, the game is just like begging you not to do that. It's just like, please, like steep in the moment.
Chase
for a
then
second
takes a sip
like,
of wine and goes, uncultured swine.
And so it's like, the game is just like at every moment is presenting you with like incredibly small and like incredible moments. And to sort of ignore that is to me kind of missing the point of the game. It's like, I get that it might be hard to get in the headspace of playing this and being like, I'm going to give this game the time that it's worth, right? Because it is asking you to be able to be in the right headspace of patient and not needing a game that moves really quickly.
Yeah.
Because it isn't that. Right. It isn't that kind of game. It reminds me a lot of it in some ways. Eco, the previous game from Shadow of the Colossus people, and like not tonally in like the kind of terror that is in Eco, but I think like visually and just the way that the game is asking you to play a little differently than you might be used to.
Sure.
It felt kind of similar. I'm also weirdly reminded of Dark Cloud 1 specifically.
Oh, okay.
Because and we played this fairly recently. You know how in Dark Cloud, like when you go into the dungeon, you come back with those like little like bits of the village.
Yeah.
It's either somebody's house or like a carriage that sits outside their house or the person who lives in that house.
Yeah.
This game is kind of similar in that, you're putting together this like page in a scrapbook of enough stuff for like an area. And it always tells you like, hey, you're in the strawberry field now or something. And once you get enough like stuff captured and put on the page, it'll sort of unlock like, I think they call it like a conclusion, which is your character just sort of like takes a second and reflects on like the whole area and like says something. If you're in a cemetery, it's like talking about who lived here or like what these people thought about death or like what the ritual was to like, talk to people beyond the grave and that sort of stuff. And so it feels kind of like Dark Cloud when eventually you get all the pieces put together for this one little area. It eventually sort of materializes in a way that feels very satisfying to me of like, nice. I like got enough of it to get a little bit of a ding boy for real quick.
Sure. You always find the ding.
So yeah, I totally aware that like there is so much of this game and I'm chewing on a lot of it at once. And I also suspect that even after I beat it, I'll probably need to like think about it for a while. And I'll also say like this game probably isn't for everybody.
This doesn't sound like it is. Yeah.
No, I could see it being frustrating in its pacing or the kind of game it is, right? Like it's really slow. And the way that you move is kind of like meandering and there's not really like, there is not a thrust in the way that I think a lot of games have, but I think it is asking you to experience it. I don't think your decisions at the end of this are going to matter.
Yeah.
It's not like some dude's going to pop out and be like, that was a fucking sick photo of that horse, dude. It's just like the story.
They should make that game though.
They should make that game.
Horse Photographer Simulator.
And a nice man complimenting my horse pics. But I don't think it's really going to matter at the end of it. And I like the point of the game, I think, is not to do that. It's for you, the player, to experience what is happening in the game and like reflect on what you choose to capture and how you choose to capture it and like what your approach is in these games. Because you could also definitely not capture everything, you know, or you could just try and live in the moment. And that's like, there's oftentimes like dialogue choices where the game pretty directly asks you like, what are you doing here? And you can answer like, I'm trying to document everything, or I'm just trying to like see this place, or anything like that. And so I think it is, the game is trying to say to you, like, this is the point. Like any single moment of this game is the point. Like I said, I bet that that's not everybody's cup of tea, but for me personally, I'm just like, I love that, man. The game is saying something, which I'm always a huge fan of.
But when do you get the BFG to blow up the things, the monsters?
When do I get a battle rifle? How do I quick scope in
when
season?
do I 360 no scope? Where's that part of the game?
Can somebody make a sweet MLG clip of me playing season?
MLG clip of you it's just you taking pictures of this beautiful scenery with like, what do they even make MLG clips with nowadays? It's not dubstep anymore. That's like 10 years old at this point.
It's like they'll just play like a meme sound, like a sound from TikTok, or like a half a second clip from something.
What's the hottest meme sound from the talk nowadays?
I think in every one of the like compiled game clips, I will always see that fish that like is chewing on a carrot that makes the like sound.
Fish.
Do you know the
chewing
one?
No, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Fish chewing. I didn't even know fish ate carrots.
Yeah, you see that one a lot. That's it.
Nice.
Anyway, Season is a good fucking game. I am so impressed with it, and I'm interested to see how it ends, because I think like this game could end very badly, and that would probably affect it. You know, like if Dead Space ended badly narratively, I'd be like, well, oh well, right? Like it's still fun to shoot necromorphs, but I think I am interested in Season because of what it is saying as a whole. And so if it like totally drops the bag, then it will probably be a little bit less interesting. But even still, I think what it's doing with like how it's asking you to capture the world and what it's asking you to think about is really cool. I want to beat it before I come down and say like, yes, this is just like an incredible game. Even still, I'm loving this one. This is a very good game.
The end of the game is actually, it just creates an MLG montage of you doing all of these things. That'll be a heel turn, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think so. Well, but you know, I'd appreciate it.
Sounds like a fun game you need glasses to be able to fully appreciate.
It's true. It's a beautiful game. It's very cool. Anyway, this will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week game.
Which is?
Gaming? David.
I am now gaming.
Hello, gaming. I'm Dad. So my Podtimistic thing of the week this week, David, is an interesting control scheme.
Ooh, okay.
Both good and bad.
Both good and bad.
Because Goldeneye certainly is an interesting control scheme. Kind of painful to play through it that way. But something that I will say that Season does very good, it's got a great bicycle control scheme, David.
Bicycle?
Real good bicycle controls.
Nice. Do you control each foot?
You control each foot.
No shit, I was joking.
No, you do control each foot. And it's not like hard. It's not like you're playing fucking Yanya Kabbalista on the PS2 with the little
it's not co-op.
Skateboard. No, it's not co-op. It's just like you on the... I'm playing on the PlayStation, so you get that real nice like feedback from it. But
triggers.
Exactly, yeah. So if you hit the R2, your right foot will pedal, and then if you hit L2, your left foot will pedal. And so you kind of just do that back and forth. And it's like it doesn't take you that long to get to pretty much like your top speed, where it asks you like, okay, you don't have to pedal anymore. But just, love that. Really good. Really, really good.
Nice.
A good control scheme. I always love it.
I do love a good control scheme.
Shouts out Ape Escape.
Ape Escape. That's a good one.
Love to throw a net with my right analog.
Jet Li's Rise to Honor, anyone?
Totally. Just use your stick to aim at stuff.
Use all the sticks. Sticks only.
Sticks only. It was sticks only, wasn't it?
I think so. I think maybe you used like the shoulder buttons, but I'm pretty sure like all the fighting itself was sticks only.
Man, what a game.
I have that game. I think I never really played it though.
Yeah, if I
think
remember
I tried
correctly,
playing. I'm like, this is silly.
It doesn't feel so good.
It was hard. It was hard. I remember.
It was hard. David, do you have something fueling your sense of optimism today?
Yeah, it's a good teleport/dash move.
Oh yeah, a little blink action.
Blink. That's a perfect way of saying it. Blink. So good, especially when I can do like a bunch in a row and like blink away and then blink back in and hit somebody. Feels good. They have a good one in Tunic, actually.
Oh sure, yeah.
Did you get that far in that game?
I don't know. I think I did, but I'm not positive.
But a good blink. I love a good blink. I love good mobility in games. And a nice quick teleport is always fun.
I'm trying to think of other games that did that really well.
Hollow Knight.
Oh, Hollow Knight's a good one, yeah. What's the like infamous game that like came out kind of early in the PS4 life cycle. The Second Son, is what that was called?
Second Son? Yeah.
That one had a great blink ability because your dude would turn into like smoke and just like move across the
That one
area.
was cool.
That was pretty nice. I like that.
This may not be a blink ability, but I did like the Blinks abilities of Blinks, the Time Cat. The Time Sweeper. Time Cat?
Yeah.
Time Sweeper.
The Time Cat. Yeah, you got it.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's same shit. Hey, do you want to move on to our main thing, David?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, David.
Yes?
It's Good Games. Hi. It's a segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's
it.
the segment. That's it.
That's all it be.
And we're doing another listener suggested game. This one was suggested to us by listener Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Also one of the co-hosts of Defend the Podcast, another good gaming podcast.
There you go.
You should listen to. And Ben had suggested this game called ReCore that we played.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave us a little background about like what he liked, but I'm going to wait to read that until a little bit later in. But yeah, we played that game. We played this one.
We played it.
But before we get hella far, David, might I hit you with a few hot stats about ReCore?
Yeah, please.
Hot stats. Hot stats.
ReCore came out September 13th of 2016. So a little bit ago. This one came out a little while ago. It was made by this company called Concept, which some people might recognize, but some might not. This is a company that was founded by Keiji Inafune, who is pretty much my video game dad. He was involved with the making of Mega Man X, Mega Man Legends, Mega Man Battle Network, like all sorts of shit that I love. I love a lot of those games. But specifically this company was one that he had founded, and they had their hands in a lot of pots, I gotta say. They were making a lot of different games. I think the one that most people will remember, for better or worse, is Mighty Number 9, the game that was like kickstarted that looked a lot like a Mega Man game, but was not Mega Man. That was like, I don't know if you played that or not, but it was like not.
I did not. I didn't hear good things about it.
Yeah, neither did I. And I did play it, and I was like, oh, this isn't a very good Mega Man game. It also made this game, Soul Sacrifice Delta. And then also, I didn't know about this game, and I'm kind of bummed to have learned about it, is Red Ash, the Indelible Legend.
Oh.
Do you know what this is?
No, what is this?
I hadn't heard of this at all, but they were pitching this, and they did it on Kickstarter for a little while as the like spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends, David.
Whoa. Okay.
Whoa,
That's
indeed.
A cool name.
Good name. And I looked at the concept art. I was like, that all looks pretty fucking sick. So far as I can tell, this game never came out. It seems to maybe still be in development, but I sort of doubt that. They like worked on it for a while and then showed like a really rough like pre-alpha footage of the game and then just sort of never did anything with it. This like section about concept I could probably go on about for a long time. Seems like kind of a mismanaged company overall.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, I should digress, but pour one out for the potential Red Ash that could have come out.
Ain't happening.
I don't think it's happening. I do have a review. This one's an interesting one. I have a review from listener Matt Gosper.
Whoa.
Yeah, he writes for Stiviver, I think is how you say it. It's an internet site that reviews games.
This is a first. This is crazy.
I know, it is a first. We were chatting in the Podtimism chat, and I knew that he reviewed games. He'd like posted stuff about his Fire Emblem Engage review, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then he saw that we were doing ReCore, and he's like, hey, I reviewed that game, like that owns. Another one of our listeners, Rufus, says, or I had said, I'm going to give that a read. And one of our listeners, Rufus, chimed in and said, do you mean translate? And I said, oh my God, we could do that. And so here we are.
This is fun. I love this.
I have taken Matt's review and run it through Google Translate a number of times, one language into the other, to mangle it up real nice, which I think it did. Yeah. I'm going to read the review now. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Matt kind of said, despite this problem, I still play ReCore. Not many people have read his story, but his details piqued my interest. Wars are different.
Oh.
Gang attacks may force you to start and stop and start and start. You can level and collect all over the world, so Nintendo isn't ready to give up on its Metroid ambitions. By the way, it is strong enough to last for a long time. And at the time, Matt gave that a 7 out of 10.
Strong enough to last for a long time. Like the used car salesman came out there at the end, it seems like.
This baby's got a lot of miles left on it.
Still got a lot to give. Shout out to you. That was actually probably one of the most coherent translations we've had. So well done on your review.
Yeah. I tried to mangle it and it just kind of refused. I was like, okay, well, you know what? That's it. I kind of understood what Matt was saying here. It's nice.
Matt, the unmangleable.
It's his boss name.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Matt, for your work on that one. I liked the review. I also read it. It was a good review. David, could you explain to me what ReCore is?
Yeah, ReCore is a third-person open area looter shooter, I would say, that also has a kind of not like a lot of collectible, but a cadre of helper friends that you can have, helper bots you can have, who are also customizable in many different ways and degrees. So you are this woman who is on this planet somewhere far off in sci-fi land, and you have a robotic animal companion that you can modify and change, and you can have different robotic companions as well, and they can help you in battle with your looting and your shooting.
Yeah, you got it. You essentially just like go into little dungeons. You got to go get like cores from these robots.
Got to get the cores. Got to ReCore those cores.
You got to ReCore. Yeah, no, I think you got it. Hey, what did you think of this game?
I enjoyed it. It was cool. Kind of just some mindless fun. I didn't have to think too hard to aim. The auto aim was generous. It was just more get out of the way of the bullets and make sure I'm matching colors the right way. Because they give you, there's a little mechanic with your gun of, if you're using the specific color of bullet of the color of an enemy that you're fighting, you'll do more damage. So you have to kind of think about it a little bit in that way. But it's not like you don't do any damage if you don't use those bullets. It's just a lot faster if you do it that way.
It's much more effective. And
I did enjoy the little mini game of pulling the cores out of the robots.
It turns into like a fishing game when you do that.
It turns into this random, little fishing tug of war game all of a sudden. And it is satisfying, especially if you do it right when they're almost dead. You just pull it right out of them without having to actually tug.
It's fun.
That feels pretty good. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, it's kind of it's an interesting enough environment. The like I said, the gameplay is pretty mindless but engaging. I'd say mindless, but I don't mean that as a pejorative. I just mean that you don't have to really think too hard to engage with the game and its combat, which isn't always necessarily a bad thing, because I don't think that's really what the game is going for. It's more going for explore, uncover the story, figure out what's going on, and find parts to level up your little robot companion who's oh so cute.
Yeah, you eventually get more of them, but the first one you get is like pretty much a robot dog. It's very good.
Hard to beat the robot dog right off the bat.
It's when I first played this, I didn't really look very much up about it. I was just like, all right, I'm going in. And one of my first thoughts when I was playing the combat was like, damn, that's Mega Man Legends combat if I don't mistake it.
Oh yeah.
The like locking onto somebody and then strafing around them while you shoot at them is like very Mega Man Legends. That is like pretty much the main way that you fight people in that game, which initially I was like, damn, that's fucking cool. Not to mention the idea of like going into these dungeons to look for like cores or crystals or whatever. Also very Mega Man Legends, which in one, it made me feel two things. One, I'm bummed that this game didn't do better, or that it's not a little bit more better. This is definitely an okay game, but I was also like, damn, that's cool. That like this is what it would feel like if one of those games came out these days. It also sort of reinforced to me the idea that like I think half of what Mega Man Legends appeals to me is the visuals of it and like the tone of the game.
Sure.
Because like I think this game's like, it's like some post-apocalypse stuff. You're like on a bad planet and you got to go fight robots and stuff like that.
Bad desert planet, yeah.
But like, and I don't mean this in like a terribly pejorative way, but like the visuals are like kind of normal. Like it looks like a video game, And like there are interesting parts about it. I think some of the designs in here are pretty neat, but I was like, I think it hammers home like just how much I do like the like cell shaded stuff going on in Legends. But after having read like, oh, this is the guy who did Mega Man Legends, it makes sense why all of those influences are here. And yeah, I agree with you that like the loop of the game is pretty fun. It is kind of mindless. Like you're just like, all right, I got to go into this area and there's some cores I need to get. And like, there's a place that I have to go to and like find all those little like green bots that are hidden somewhere to open up a door. It's not like hard, but it is kind of nice to just like have on and play and stuff like that. And like, yeah, I think that for whatever reason, the companion stuff does kind of appeal to me. I like being able to level up your friend as like your main way of getting better in the game.
Make your dog stronger.
Make your dog stronger. Whereas like in most games, they would just let you upgrade like your gun or something like that. But this one's like, no, you're upgrading your robot friend, which is cool.
It's true. And I did enjoy that they gave you different looks for your robot friend. Like I definitely got the head that looked most like my dog growing up. And I'm like, I don't care what the stats are. This is staying on you until maybe I find another one that looks like this that has better stats, but this is you now.
Shouts out Coffee.
Shouts out Coffee. Gotta give them big pointy ears. Love it.
Yeah, them German Shepherd ears.
Good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool. I thought this game was interesting and neat. I didn't like look up what happens in the story. So like I can't speak to whether or not it like got like real interesting, but like there's a lot of stuff going on of like it seemed I think there's some stuff about like the people are trying to like colonize or not colonize, but like explore these worlds and like try and overcome. I think there was like something called a dust devil plague that like ravaged Earth.
Things are bad on Earth, so people are trying to find a new hospitable planet.
Yes.
But they don't go as well as I think it will.
Right. Yeah. It reminded me of something. Oh, it kind of reminded me of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh.
Which, you know, is that's a whole other can of worms, but like just conceptually the story kind of sounds similar.
It kind of reminded me of Interstellar.
Yeah, I get that too.
Earth's
makes
fucked,
sense.
Go find something else.
Yeah,
there's no Matt
totally.
Damon to come and try to fuck you up. I guess maybe he's Victor. I just like how they talk about Victor, and Victor's just a robot whose name is Victor.
I know. Yeah, it's really good. So, some of the characters in this are actually pretty fun. Like the fast travel creature that shows up for you every now and then.
Violet?
Yes. Yeah.
Peppy creature. Reminded me of a Moogle.
Yeah, they got a little Moogle vibes to them. That's true. That's totally true. I hadn't put that together, but you're right. Can I read to you what Ben had to say about this game?
Yeah, please.
It was a nice message. I had asked him if he had anything else to say about ReCore. And Ben had said, I experienced ReCore at a time where I was overly critical of games without actually playing them. He said, I had begun an experiment with a couple of friends where they'd task me with a benign game from their backlog as a palette former or foundation setter, and ReCore was the first game I was given. What I remember about my experience with it then was being surprised at the attempt of the system harmony. There are a few different mechanics rolling around in here, and as the game goes on, it melds and meshes your abilities and points it all towards the ending. I was impressed at what it was going for, but I remember feeling it was already antique, old by proxy, because it wasn't presenting anything new or innovative. He says, when I reflect on ReCore, I think fondly of it as a collection of ideas that a studio tinkered with and ultimately made something of a game with it. I enjoyed the roster of knack companions, that's a tough one, and their rotating utility around the world. When I think about it now, it's not as much of an antique as it much is an artifact crystallizing a subgenre of collectathon platformers that existed in the middling generation of the consoles, and I'm grateful for it. Which is well put. It's a well put way of describing this.
Absolutely.
I think I mostly agree, right? Like, I think the mechanics do feel a little older. You can feel them in there. And like, it's interesting. I always wonder, like, I think games sometimes can feel like they're being like, you know, throwbacks to other genres or other like games in the series or anything like that. But mechanics don't always do that. Like it's very rare that you get like, ooh, that's a nice throwback mechanic or something like that. Unless it's like a game, you know, like Chained Echoes, that's like, we are specifically trying to be a 90s video game.
Sure.
There's a part in Death Stranding that is a throwback to something else, but it's very deep in the game, so I can't really talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an interesting point of like what mechanically has evolved and like what feels old. Because I agree, it does feel kind of old, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think like the shooting mechanic of it definitely feels old, but there's part of the companion portion of it that doesn't feel old. That actually reminds me of God of War.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? In that you have a button that is kind of hotkeyed to your companion, then you can upgrade your companion in a different screen and make them stronger. So that was kind of an interesting parallel that I saw, which is, you know, it's very much heralded as a very modern game. And I'm trying to think about other games where you have that ability to have like this other creature thing that is with you, and you're able to command it to do certain things during combat. I guess maybe a little bit of Nier as well with your pod, which is maybe not quite so much the same sort of deal, because it's just like acting as your gun in that game. I did think that was maybe a fresher thing in the game than some of the other stuff. Yeah. But I do agree that, like the overall game design of go into the dungeon, delve down deep, find the thing, and come back out. Tried and true. Yeah, it definitely, like, even at the time was kind of not on its way out, but a little bit on its way out. Yeah, people were kind of looking at it side-eyed.
Yeah, this is also like right before Breath of the Wild comes in and just like blows all of that up.
Yeah, changes everything.
Yeah, and so I think you definitely start seeing games like this where it's like they're kind of reaching the conclusion of collect-a-thon and shooting and platforming. Because there is a fair amount of platforming in here.
There is. There's a double jump. There's a dash boost in the air.
This isn't totally true all the time, but I was also thinking, like, I wonder if this is what like Jak 2 would feel like if it came out in 2016.
I did get some Jak vibes just with the double jump and the shooting. Yeah. It physically sort of reminded me of playing that game. Almost no other way, but just like the double jump kind of feels like Jak and Daxter, and this shooting feels a little Jak and Daxter. You have a little creature on a quest.
Creature on a quest, man.
That Otzel.
Yeah, true. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I don't know that I like, when we played like Ikaruga or something like that, I was like, God damn, that is an incredible, just downright good, inventive game. Or something, Cattails or something that is like maybe a little less polished, but has like a lot of original stuff. It feels like this one is like doing ideas that have been done a lot, and they're okay. Like they're doing it all right. But I would be remiss if I said this was a bad game, Absolutely. This is the person who does just enough to keep their job, Yeah, it's you would never consider firing them. Oh my God, no.
No, they're doing a fine job. They're not doing an exceptional job, but they're doing a fine job. It's like, I don't want to make a sports analogy too intensely right now, but there was a quarterback in the NFL named Andy Dalton who was the starter for the Cincinnati Bengals for years and years and years. And they did all these studies on his statistics, and they called it the Dalton line, which was he was the breaking point of if you were worse than him, you were not a starting quarterback in the NFL. But if you were as good or better than him, you were a starting quarterback in the NFL. This feels like the Dalton line of a just fine video game.
If you're any worse than this, it's like, oh boy, like, I don't know if I can delve too deep into this one, but if you're better, like, wow, okay, what's going on? Something interesting in there.
Exactly. Like this is the most average game, and that sounds mean, but like it's not a bad thing, I don't think.
No, yeah, I don't think so, because like the game is still doing a lot pretty well.
Exactly.
I think it's interesting that Ben was tasked with this as like a palette former, because I do think like this game will show you like what it is to be okay game and what you can appreciate or dislike about it, right? Like it will point out to you what feels bad about it. In a way that will kind of build your taste, right? Because like, I don't know if this is true for anybody else, but when I play like a really perfect game sometimes, or, maybe 10 years ago when like I wasn't thinking quite as critically about games, but like when I played a really good game, it was kind of hard for me to pick out exactly what was working right all the time. Or when I played a catastrophe of a game, it was like everything is wrong. But I think it is much harder to find like what specific stuff about this is or isn't working. And like, I think it's true that would probably develop some taste in you, like trying to figure out like what is working about this for me.
Absolutely.
I think for me, it's definitely the companion stuff. I like the companion stuff. And you're right that like, I think a lot of the time when you have a secondary character or a companion, a lot of the time they want you to just control that other character completely. Like, go into the body of your friend and now you're them and you can fight as them, rather than just like press a button and Atreus will shoot an arrow.
Exactly, right.
And you're sort of controlling the battlefield rather than just one person, which is cool. I like that. The collectathon stuff, I could kind of take it or leave it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, same. I don't need that. That's never been what draws me to a game. I know there's people who love that stuff. That's just never been me.
There are games that I'm cool with that. Like I'm cool with doing that. I think it just kind of has to the loop has to be more intrinsically good for me. You know, it's not a collectathon game, but I've been enjoying playing through like the skirmishes in Fire Emblem Engage.
Okay.
Because like they don't mean anything story wise, right? It's just a way to get more resources or level your characters up, which is fun because like the tactics are good. It's fun to play the game. And so it's this loop of like, I want to go do a skirmish because it's fun and I get more stuff and I can upgrade my characters, which will then allow me to be better and do harder skirmishes and stuff like that. And it just sort of folds back in on itself.
Sure.
And I think this one does too, right? Like you get stronger companions, which will allow you to do harder dungeons and stuff. But I think the carrot was not as obvious for me. Whereas it's just like, yeah, I think I do want to upgrade my companions because like I like this dog robot, but like it would be cooler. But if it was just like contributing to some larger goal, you know, that would be pretty cool. Totally. But yeah, cool game.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting one to play. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time with this game.
I did too.
Good, just kind of relax and shoot.
Yeah, I also like I just totally missed this one completely.
Yeah. I will say probably not a great name for a game.
Yeah.
It needs to be a little catchier, but I think it's really just letting you know what you're in for.
It is appropriate.
Like, this is just what we are. This is the game.
Getting cores.
Cores and ReCoring.
Anything else to say about this game before we leave it behind?
No, I think I'm good.
Thanks for suggesting this, Ben, and thanks for writing up your feelings about it. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Couple of things. Hello. Hi is the first one.
Whoa. Hello and hi.
Yeah, you get both. 2 for 1. 1, if you want to go on the internet and like see our internet presence, that's a weird way to describe that. There's Podtimism.com. It's a place that you can go see our social medias or get a link to the show or see what games we've covered. There is also a new section of the website that I built. It is the podcast art of the show. Recently, I've been like kind of in my spare time just making covers for our episodes, for any of them that like featured a game specifically.
You're really letting everyone know why you liked Seasons right now, huh?
The layout? Is that what you mean? Yes.
The little art that you make for each episode.
Yeah, no, it's very satisfying. I really like doing that. Like removing the normal cover or like getting the box art for something without the name on it and then sort of duping the text. Very fun. I really like that a lot. And so I did it for most of those. So if you want to go check those out, there's just another part of our website. I think it's the podcast art gallery is maybe what I called it. I don't remember. But yeah, that's on there if you want to go check those out. There's a couple of good ones in there. I really like the way that the Super Metroid cover turned out. That one was pretty good. A lot of those earlier ones, I like, the Mario Party one. Really, really liked that. Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' VGP. That's fun. I like that.
Ooh, with the 3 letters.
Yeah, exactly. And the Spider-Man cover I thought was pretty fun. Anyway, you get the point. You can go check it out for yourself if you want to. So that's there. You can also find a link on there to suggest a game if you want to. We will play games if you tell us to, like we did this episode. So there's that. What else? Quick shout out to two shout outs, actually. One, the first shout out is for Scout. This is a Scout out.
As usual.
As usual. She made our podcast art and she did a great job. You can check out any of her stuff. She's at Humble Goat on most places on the internet, but you can certainly check her stuff out at co-fi.com/humblegoat, which is her Ko-Fi page. And you can buy her a coffee or buy some stickers. Also, just big shouts out to an author that I know named Brene Brown. I'm a big fan of Brene Brown, and I've always been a big fan of Brene Brown. And I think you should be too, David.
What is this from beyond the pale?
Big
Brene Brown head over here, huh?
Big Brene Brown head. Something in the universe was telling me that you doubted my knowledge of Brene Brown, and
you just felt the need to flex on me with some Brene right now, huh?
Yeah.
Man. Okay, sure. I see you. I see you, Salby. Brene Brown. No. I mean, she's great. She came and did a talk in my grad school one time.
Oh, that's awesome. Unrelated. Mallory texted me before this and said, "Do you want to troll David a little bit?" And I
Which
said,
Chase's answer is always yes.
Yes, I would like to do that. So
but do you really like Brene Brown?
Yeah, I've seen her, or I've watched her TED Talks a fair bit. She's got good TED Talks.
The T-Talks.
Anyway, that wasn't part of the podcast. I just wanted to fuck with you.
That was good. That was good.
Yes.
You said it. I'm like, this is bad. This is bad. They're talking to each other. They're coming for me.
What else? Oh, also, if you want to help the show, there's a couple things you can do. One is reviewing it on Apple Podcast or Spotify or whatever. Spotify is a lot easier than Apple Podcasts, but both are available to you. The definitely more effective thing to do is to tell a friend and say, hey, I like this podcast, and you might too. Definitely seeing more people chatting about it. So that's nice to see and appreciate that. Even if that was not your intention, still appreciate it anyway. I love hearing about the show, and just like, honestly, I just like talking to people about fucking video games, man. So that's fun. It's good. Thank you. Thank you for engaging, and thank you for hanging out and being a Podtimist. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah. Usually then I go into saying thank you for listening, but we sort of just did that already. So, you know, listen to that last part again if you want to know our feelings. But thanks for listening. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, we love it.
David, do you have any gaming wisdom for us to leave on today?
Yeah, you know, if you are stuck on a desert planet, toiling away, it's just you and your robot companion.
Yeah.
You know, just make sure that you packed some Brene Brown, some light reading. She'll definitely get you through that tough time.
Yeah.
She's great. She's a smart lady. She knows what she's talking about. I don't even know what she does talk about. Positive psychology, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's about
a lot of it.
Real with your emotions and stuff.
Be real with your... I mean, yeah, if there's any ways to be real with your emotions, it's on a desert planet where pretty much everything is trying to kill you.
Yeah.
You got to conquer your emotions to be able to survive in that harsh environment. And that's kind of just like the real world.
That's true. That's very true.
You know, a desert planet could be your backyard.
It's true.
Core bots trying to get you. Never know.
The desert planet of your mind.
The desert planet of your mind, and the core bots of your maladaptive patterns and emotions and thoughts. Brene Brown will help vanquish those with you, alongside you.
I'm really going to have to include the Brene Brown bit before this for this specific joke to make any sort of sense.
This is now a Brene Brown podcast. Sorry gamers.
Sorry gamers. It's all about emotional health now.
Hey, that ain't a bad thing.
I guess that's true. Knowing a lot of gamers, maybe not our audience, but a lot of gamers at large, maybe like a mental health podcast wouldn't be such a bad idea.
Oh, absolutely not.
You feel me? You know?
It's always good just to check in with yourself.
See what's going on in there.
Take a look underneath the hood, you know?
Kick the tires, check out the hood, see what sort of like baggage you're carrying around.
I mean, it's probably something.
It's probably something. Why is your chest all tight all the time? What are you thinking about? What terrible stories are you feeding yourself all day?
Why are you grinding your teeth, huh?
Oh my God, dude, don't get me started. Your boy has to wear the night guard so that I don't just grind my teeth into dust in my sleep.
I have to get a crown because I
because of said
my
teeth grinding.
Open. Yeah, almost positive. I can't think of any other reason why that would happen. Them shit's expensive.
They are expensive. When did we decide that teeth aren't healthcare, guys? The fuck is this?
When we decided that we're better than the British.
I feel like we should come to the opposite conclusion. If we are better than the British, which I ain't saying that, but maybe we should get some better teeth. This is relying on old played out stereotypes. I bet the Brits have figured out braces by now.
Sorry to any British people. I'm sure your teeth are great.
Yeah. This is a Brene Brown cast now. I hope she hasn't said something terrible in the interim.
God, you never fucking know, dude. I'd be shocked if Brene Brown.
Me too, but you never know, man. We're all Bernays.
We're all Brene heads.
We're Bernays.
Brunettes? Brainettes?
Brunettes. We all got our hair colored to brown now. Where's the funny joke to end this podcast?
Have a good night.
Yeah, that's a good one. End of podcast. Goodbye. I hope your week is good. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye, Brene Brown.
Bye, Brene Brown.